I'm going to point at you when you're ready, Matthew.
And welcome in, diehard fans of college hoops. This is the Three-Man Weave College Basketball Podcast. Matthew Cox, Kai McKeon, and we are down a starter, but have we found a replacement? And it is a massive upgrade. This is like one of those transfer portal gets where one of your inefficient guys leaves. You find just this gold mine who wants to come play for you, and it's just a great feeling. Tony Meier, a name that is not known by all, but should be one of our esteemed friends, long time, and a recent title winner abroad, plays professionally in Poland. He was best collegiately known, I think, Tony, for those who care about going toe-to-toe with the Brad Stevens Butler Bulldogs back in Milwaukee. We'll get into all that later. Just want to talk to you about college hoops, professional ball, and obviously just catch up because it's been way, way, way too long since I've seen your smiling, pretty face, which is adorned with disgusting facial hair as usual. But Tony, how are you? Welcome for joining us. How is Poland?
It's all right. I'm doing good. Happy to be on the show. Happy to be talking to you guys again. This is awesome. Ever since you guys started this, I've been wanting to get on with you. So it's an honor to be on with you guys. And just excited to talk some hoops.
It only took 317 episodes to get Tony on, Matthew.
Right. Is it Tony's fault for breaking late?
I'm waiting for that.
Both Tony and the Weave, slow developers, but fast risers late, That's kind of in the direction. So we've mirrored our careers in different aspects there. Hey, so this episode will be an interview testimonial of sorts. And then we'll come back and hit some Roots Roundup. Cox's corner since Jimbo is still abroad, which hits back today. Is that right, Kai? Coming back from
he's currently in the air from London. Yes.
Tony, have you been to Ibiza?
I have not been to Ibiza. No.
Apparently, it's a different. It's a speed we used to have. I don't know if we have that gear anymore. Jim, I think, still does. So I salute I tip my cap to him. Kyle, we have one lovely review which we have to pay tribute to before we get to the actual conversation. Tony, we do everything we can to bow down to our fans and stroke their egos so they stroke ours. Kai, read said review, please.
Yes, Ethan says most comprehensive college basketball pod. Despite all the recent heinous UCLA shade, this is definitely the most knowledgeable and thorough college basketball pod going right now. He says he comes here for the solid analysis and unbiased opinion, unless you're talking about Mizzou. Love all the mid-major insight. You guys focus on what's going on in the whole country rather than the three biggest stories from week to week, and that's really cool. Hey, appreciate that, Ethan. Also, I looked at UCLA a little closer today. I kind of like them. They're international dudes. Hey, Tony's an international dude. Are really, really, really good. Really, really, really good. So TBD on the Bruins, Matthew.
Yeah, Tony, do you know a lick about any of the Mara or Vide or any of those guys at all? Like, is there no?
No.
Yeah,
honestly,
I think you're pretty,
I'm kind of out of the college basketball scene these days, man. With the time difference and stuff, I kind of and obviously, being in the European scene, I've kind of just gravitated towards EuroLeague, high level European basketball.
Yeah, you're not missing much.
It's for me to view. But I love tournament time because, you get the day games back home so I can watch those live here. And that's always fun.
I never thought about that. You're right. The day tournament actually caters to the European NCAA, which feels like there's a pretty large, there's some pretty massive Twitter accounts that are all like, Spanish NCAA college basketball focused. So it's all great. Growing the game globally, Kai.
Yes.
But yeah, should we just jump right into it?
Yeah, I can just take the wheel, Matt, if you want.
Yeah, we'll share it, but I'll give it to you for now. Go
ahead.
You
see, Matt doesn't do any pod prep at all. So I am running the point of the interview with Tony. So Tony Meier, same page. Yeah, exactly. Tony Meier, folks, is Matt and I's childhood best friend. We've known him for ever. I would say since first grade. I'm gonna mark it at first grade. Could be earlier, Matt. But I'm gonna say first.
Yeah, kindergarten first. I think that sounds right. Yeah, the old Chesterfield Wild Horse rivalry quickly emerged there in third grade. And
yes, here's Tony's bio. I'm gonna get the bio out of the way. He played 4 years at Milwaukee under Rob Jeter. Jeter's the current Southern Utah coach for you mid-major diehards out there. Tony's team won the Horizon in 2011. They beat Butler twice that year. Yes, the same Butler team that got an 8 seed and made the championship for the second straight season. Tony only shot 44% from three that year. So not good enough. Not good enough to beat Butler, Tony. 44% just doesn't cut it these days.
Yeah. That's just not it, that was a rough year because beat them twice in the regular season and came up short in the championship game.
You had him at home too. You had him at home at the Cell. Home. The incomparable Cell.
Most packed I've ever seen the Cell. Most packed I've ever seen it. Just kind of laid an egg. Honestly, it was. I would give it all to Brad Stevens on that one. He out-coached Jeter at the end. Like not to throw shade at Jeter, but they changed up totally how they played us, and we kind of didn't really have a shot even from the jump. So.
We might dive into that a bit as I continue Tony's illustrious bio here. 1,000-point scorer. I was actually there the day Tony scored his 1,000th point at Loyola. That's right. That was a fun memory. Tony's played in several countries abroad now: Australia, Portugal, Greece, Czech Republic, and Poland. That's what Wikipedia says. Tony, you have a Wikipedia page. How cool is that?
I've heard that. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'm going to edit it and add some weird facts about you. Is that cool?
Please do.
Tony, who made that?
It probably needs a little tuning up. I can't imagine it's very good.
No, it's got that great picture of you stretching with the knee pads, like the famous Tony knee pads. It's a really good pick. It's stuff you look kind of like a boss for sure. Okay. It's a good profile. It looks good.
I'm gonna have to check it out now. I'm a little curious.
Do you rock knee pads?
I don't rock knee pads, but I do rock the tights that cover the knees.
The tights. Sorry, the tights. That's fine. Yes. All the cool kids do that these days.
That must have been what it is. I do rock the ankle braces, which make me look, extra slow, even slower than I actually am. So that's really fun. I get a lot of love from my teammates for that.
I bet you do. Yeah. 33, you're an old man now, Tony, as we can all attest.
You're a vet. You're a vet.
Yeah. Grizzled big time. Yep. Playing with these guys straight out of college, it's crazy. I don't even know the music they're listening to these days and shit. I feel really old.
Kids these days, they suck. Yeah. So Tony just won the Polish league. I don't know if we buried the lead on that one. The championship with Auburn's Bryce Brown, who's on the team. Final Four darling, Mr. Bryce Brown. We're going to get into Finals MVP Bryce Brown. Wow. Yeah. They didn't give it to you? I actually saw one account that said you should have gotten it.
There, honestly, three of us were kind of in the running. We had the kind of balanced team this year, and it was really fun. But Bryce in the last couple games got really hot and kind of carried us to the final victory at the end. I think that kind of pushed him over the edge for guys. So
let's start with that.
He deserved it for sure.
How is Bryce? And then you have three other Americans on your team that all played college basketball: Alex Hamilton from Louisiana Tech, Phil Fain from Illinois State, Zach Cuthbertson from Coastal Carolina. How are the Americans on your squad, Tony? Are you making good friends?
Yeah, definitely. So I just got back I signed back with the same team, and I'm back here now. And the only guy that's back from last season that you mentioned is Zach Cuthbertson. But he's great to play with. Bryce, Phil, Alex, they were all really great to play with, honestly. It was a really cool mix of guys, honestly, because with a lot of those guys were younger, kind of not too experienced, obviously. With me being, it was my 10th season last year, so I had some experience overseas. And our point guard actually is a D2 guy, played at Wisconsin Parkside. But grew up in Chicago and is first generation Polish. So he's got a Polish passport, grew up in the States his whole life. And me and him had actually played together in the previous team in Poland, and kind of got screwed over by our coach. We didn't end up playing much that season previously. And so we came to this new team to kind of, re-showcase ourselves a little bit. And he's another experienced guy, kind of similar like me, uses his, smarts on the court more so than his athletic ability kind of guy.
Oh, come on. You can
And so having us with the experience, and then that young group of talented dudes, Phil can jump out of the gym, Bryce can shoot the crap out of the ball, when he gets hot, and his first step is crazy quick. Zach Cuthbertson, he's a physical beast too. So that kind of, and then Alex joined us late, actually, kind of right before our playoff run. I think 3 games left in the regular season is when he came over. He was playing in Lithuania before that, but he added some much needed kind of like a second point guard for us because Andy, who was our point guard, he ended up winning MVP of the league. The D2 guy.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Not bad.
But he just, he can't be playing 40 minutes. He couldn't play 40 minutes a game in the playoffs and stuff like that. So we needed that extra guy to come in and kind of run the team when, he needed a breather and stuff like that. But Alex was great for us, kind of helped push us over the edge for our playoff run also. So that was pretty cool.
What's the scene like for Polish basketball? Are you a celebrity walking up and down the streets? Do people know you?
So it kind of depends what city you're in. The team I'm playing for, last season was the first time the team had even ever made it out of the first round of the playoffs in the team's history. And there's a big soccer club in the city. So basketball is kind of an afterthought. Nobody recognized us in the beginning of the season, but as the season went on and we were making our championship run, it kind of got a little bit more, felt like people were noticing us. Neighbors were even coming up to me, like congratulating me for wins and stuff like that in our apartment building and stuff. So that was pretty cool. There's like a couple other historic clubs that, if you're playing for those teams in those cities, like you'll get recognized and all that stuff. But here in this city, which I kind of like, I prefer to kind of be on the low key side of things. So yeah, it's kind of nice that, not too many people are recognizing you, but it's more so surprising that you're speaking English here in Poland than, than that you're a basketball player. So,
how do you pronounce the city's name, number one? And then what's the home crowd environment like in the playoffs, especially?
Okay, so the city is pronounced Szczecin.
Szczecin. Okay, got it.
Szczecin. Yeah, all the consonants, all lumped together.
Just
like CZ.
Screw a vowel. Get a vowel out of here.
Exactly. Awesome. Yeah. They hate vowels here in Poland, so that's always fun.
It's crazy how much there's no like known Polish players are like stars. Like Lithuania, neighboring country, a lot of big names, but Poland there really hasn't been like a major like breakthrough. At least that I know of. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like Gortat is probably Marcin Gortat is probably Polish name in like kind of Polish basketball. It's like, and I think he's still like, I know he's back living here in like Warsaw, I think, and kind of involved in the basketball scene somehow. I'm not sure exactly how, but outside of him, there haven't been too many big names in Poland. Jeremy Shohan he has a Polish background. I think his like mother is fully Polish. I know he's got some British background too, but the Polish kind of basketball scene always tries to claim him when he's doing well. So that's interesting as well. What was your other question, Kai?
Home crowd environment. Did you have a good home crowd?
So at the beginning of the season, honestly, like I said, this is not a basketball city that we're in. So we have one of the bigger gyms in the league. I think it holds close to 6,000. I know that's not big by American standards, but here in Poland, that's one of the bigger gyms in the league, actually. And it's new. I think it's only like 8 years old or something like that, nice. The gym. So it's actually a really nice gym, but it was really, really empty, like early on in the season. But as we like kind of started playing well and got into the playoffs, made it out of the first round and everything, by the championship game, it was completely sold out. Police were even having to like kick people out because it was like a fire code hazard that there were, they were selling like standing room only seats and like too many people were coming in even. So that was really cool to see kind of the transformation over the course of the year as they kind of packed the arena. Yeah.
Hey, 6,000 is about average for D1. Just looking at my spreadsheet here.
Sounds about right.
So yeah, decent size.
Yeah.
The cell seats what, 12,000? It's a huge.
The cells.
Yeah.
Is it big?
Yeah. I think it's
pretty big. For college standards, it's pretty big.
Yeah, it was pretty big. Yeah.
I'm zooming out real quick on international ball, Tony, real quick.
Okay.
Best thing about playing ball for a living, worst thing about playing ball for a living. Go.
Oh, wow.
I put you on the spot. I did not prepare Tony for this question, so this is fun.
No, definitely not at all. Best thing about it, I honestly, just what you said, playing ball for a living. Like,
Yes.
A couple of years ago, I stopped and I got a real job, and it definitely was not as enjoyable as just going to practice, hooping every day. But yeah, I mean, honestly, just playing ball, like as my job, like, getting the summers off, like it's crazy busy during the season, obviously. Very few days off, but yeah, I mean, when you go to practice and like, you know how it is, like you're tired, you don't want to practice half the time, but it's still a lot better than, having to go do something that, you may not enjoy or whatever. So yeah, and definitely learning to appreciate that more as I've gotten older as well. And I see the light at the end of the tunnel, kind of coming in my career. Worst thing I would say is, I mean, all the kind of BS that comes with the overseas side of things. I don't know how much you know about overseas basketball, but not getting paid on time, fighting for payments. I mean, right now, for example, like, I mean, this is a club I love and I know them and everything like that, but we're supposed to be provided a car, all the players are, and they didn't have any cars ready yet. So we're just like, my family's here with me and we're kind of just stranded in the apartment until they get the car situation figured out. Yeah, just all the little things like that, taking the bus everywhere still, like, especially across Poland.
You travel by bus in Poland?
Yes. Internationally, we travel by plane, but that's also like, it's coach, they're buying the cheapest flights they can, and everything like that. Even telling you got to pack your bags light so they don't have to check them and pay for them, all the little stuff like that. So yeah, that's the not so fun side of the overseas life. But,
I remember one time, Tony, you told the story where you flew all the way to where was it, like East Russia or something, like an overnight 12-hour flight. It was like below zero or something. And I was like, that's as bad as it gets. I think I would have retired right then if I were you.
Yep. Flying all the way to Siberia. We were playing
Siberia
in Krasnoyarsk, Russia. I think it was like 8-hour time difference. That was the coldest cold I've ever felt in my entire life. Walking out of the airport, just from the walk from the airport to the bus to go to the hotel, and I was like, this is different. Like, yeah, it was freezing.
You don't have to go into detail, but you still have like Greece money out there, right? Is there a certain situation there still? Maybe not.
Greece money is pretty much settled. I mean, I'm not fighting for any Greece money at this point.
Yes, but that was a while ago.
A little was left on the table, but they basically get you to where, it's going to cost you just as much to take them to court as they owe you left. So they're just like, okay,
crazy,
try and sue us. Like, it's not worth their time, and it wasn't. So I didn't. Yeah. And honestly, right now, one of my worst money situation was the previous team I was playing for in Poland, and I'm in court at the moment to try to receive the rest of my money from them. That's from 2 seasons ago.
Something you don't think about from an international player perspective is, and I've heard this a lot. Like, Stephen Howard was on our podcast many moons ago. He said the exact same thing about the payment structure overseas. We actually have a question from the chat, Tony. Connor, how much time do you spend on practice, film study, working out per day in season?
So, yeah, I mean, that's another thing. That's a funny thing, because one of the rookies this year was just asking me the other day, he's like, when are these 2-a-days going to be over? I was like, they don't. I just kind of laughed. I was like, they don't end, bro. Like, it's all season, man. So yeah, I kind of ran him through a typical week, but I'll take you through this week of preseason. I landed on Sunday night, and I got thrown into it right away. Monday we had 2 practices. So in the morning they split up bigs and guards, and we do about an hour lift, and then get on the court for like individual work for another hour and a half. And then, any kind of treatment or stretching, might take you to about 3-4 hours in the morning away from your house, I would say. And then you go back to practice in the evening. 2 hours of like actual live practice, but you know, you got to be there half hour before preparing. And then again, after, if you want to get extra shots up, you need some treatment with the physio, you know, it can be another 3-4 hours. So jeez. I would say, you know, on a typical day, it's almost the full 8 hours that you would have at a normal job.
You got a 9 to 5, man.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, that's kind of a rundown. And then, you know, to like today was one of the days we had one practice, but you know, those go a little longer when it's just one in the day. So practiced at noon, but you know, I left my house at 11 and didn't get back till about 3:30, I would say. So yeah.
Do you guys scout a lot like film breakdown of other teams, or is it more you just working on what you guys do internally and go do that against whoever the heck shows up?
There's a good amount, especially in the domestic league.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Because like you're playing those teams 2 times a year minimum. You know, with cups, you might play them even more, and then obviously the playoffs. You know, so you want to be kind of like scouted up as much as you can. So we'll watch film on the say we have a game on Saturday, we'll start watching film either Wednesday or Thursday, and you know, have about 45 minutes of film before practice each of those days, just kind of breaking down players and then going through all their sets, you know, defensive stuff that they do and whatnot like that. And then try and work it out on the court and everything. You got a whole week to prepare too. So, you know, like it's not like these quick turnarounds like you're playing Thursday, Saturday.
So it's like a football schedule, right? Like it's like every weekend when the games are? Okay.
Yeah. So like Polish League will be every weekend, you know, and then we're at certain, you know, a number of the teams also play in European competitions. So our team, because we won the championship in Poland last year, we qualified to play in Basketball Champions League, which is, you know, kind of a big competition throughout all of Europe. Yeah. We'll travel to Greece, Italy, and Germany for games against those teams.
Love that.
Yeah. Which is really nice. Honestly, I love it because it means less practice. Because
I feel like you just want to cut into practice time.
Those full weeks in between games can get real long. So and then you get to travel, you get to experience. You know, you get a little more exposure. Guys, you know, guys
you're going to Italy. You're not going to Macomb, Illinois, or Colville. Yeah, right.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and you know, guys will go to teams that are playing European championships just to get exposure to. You know, you'll take less money sometimes because you know you're going to get more look. Just
True.
Whatever. You know, if you're trying to build your career, you're at that point. You know, I'm kind of out of that stage of my career. So, but you know, the younger guys love it. So, big incentive. You know, we can get better players and stuff like that, which is cool.
We're gonna get into college ball. But I want to ask one more question, and don't be bashful. How close do you think your game is? You can talk about your prime, whatever that was, or your teammates, to an NBA level player for perspective for the folks at home. Biggest differences too between NBA and maybe high level European basketball.
Honestly, high level European basketball, I would say, is like very comparable. Most of those guys, I would put them on NBA teams. Like if the NBA, EuroLeague guys, they could definitely be playing in the NBA, and probably would be if the NBA wasn't trying to like harvest, you know, like the potential of younger guys. You know,
sure. Yeah, right.
You take a guy, you take a guy that you know what you're getting with them, but obviously in the NBA, you know, they're trying to, you know, strike it rich with some guy,
young star, right? Yeah.
You know, it could pan out, and you know, like I said, and these EuroLeague guys, like they would still, you know, be the 9th, 10th guy on the NBA team. So it's like you'd have a better 9th, 10th guy, but you're not going to play them anyway, right? So
right.
Might as well try it out on a guy that's got some potential and could become a star. So yeah, I would kind of equate. I would say the biggest difference is just the level of. I was just telling my wife this the other day. Like I would say the strength even is the same. I think that's what some of these guys in the because we were watching the USA basketball team, and like I think some guys might get surprised by how strong these other guys European are from overseas. But the explosiveness and the like burst of speed, I would say, is just on another level in the NBA that the Euro guys are kind of lacking. That kind of sets them aside as not NBA level talent. But
that makes sense.
Even some of them are, just as skilled and stuff like that. But if you can't get your shot off against a monster athlete in the NBA, like it ain't gonna work out. So
I mean, Bryce Brown, I mean, God, I can just picture his Auburn film. I mean, just blur speed. So I can see how he is crushing it in that arena for sure.
Yeah,
all right,
exactly.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tony.
No, go ahead.
I'm going college ball now because this is a college basketball podcast. All right. So you played for Rob Jeter, who we mentioned at Southern Utah. Also, you played for Chad Boudreau, who's actually the new coach at Western Illinois. So how was playing for those two guys in college?
It was really great, honestly. Chad was one of the assistants at the time, and he was one that heavily recruited me out of high school. And I got to I was actually really close with the assistants on that staff. Rob wasn't so, like players coach, I guess is what they call it these days. He was, more of the like old school discipline guy and, not going to try and, be your buddy or anything like that, which, obviously. But they put together some really good teams that we had. And, I enjoyed all 4 of my years there. I think, Boudreau, I'm really happy. I think this is his first shot at a D1 head coaching job. And I'm really excited for him. I'm happy for him. And I know Jeter was out of the head coaching role for a while too. And he was always looking to get back there, and he had a great season at Western last year. So
he was great at Western
too.
Yep.
But it was, my 4 years, I had some ups and downs. But the coaching staff was always a big reason why I enjoyed my time there.
Were the downs part of me and Matt visiting you in college and maybe getting a little too crazy on certain nights?
No, those were
I blame Christian Haggerty for that. That was always there were other actors that play there, Kai. That was never us.
It might have been, it might have been bad decision making, but I was making bad decisions off the court, regardless of you guys being there. So I can't put the blame on you. We did have
some high school things in the chat a little bit here. Tony played with Tyler Griffey in high school. For those who don't know, Tyler Griffey went to Illinois. He also played with a D2 guy named Will Kirksey. How that team lost before you guys didn't even win districts, did you?
We also had Michael Messer, who
played at SIUE.
Yep. Another D1 guy. Yeah, 4 of our starting 5 were D1 talent guys. Unreal. Yes. I always tell people, that was like crazy that we so underachieved.
Yeah,
Scott Suggs ended up knocking us out of regionals, though.
Scott Suggs,
Washington's finest.
Killed me personally in that game. So that's a fun memory to have. But I believe he's still playing overseas.
Scott is? Yeah. Okay.
Tony, real quick. Sorry, just made me think of.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we did. You always beat us, Tony. When we split apart, obviously. I remember you telling me that Jimmy Butler was the hardest player you ever had to guard, right? And I think you told me this like 10 years ago. Maybe that's 7 years ago. You just kind of thoughts on him to see what he's done recently. I mean, just crazy to think like if people always sleep on him, and to think you were actually checking him in college is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy that I was trying to guard him. And the fact that he was just playing the 4 in college, but those Marquette teams, they always had that one, that 4-man. I went right after he graduated, didn't get any easier because then I was guarding Jake Crowder for them. So, but it's kind of crazy it's kind of awesome what he's doing. For the Heat, like they honestly got a great culture there in Miami, it seems like, because for him to kind of just run the show and everybody just buys in around them. They play hard like every game, and that you don't see that a lot in the NBA these days. But I mean, honestly, from college, like I could just tell he had that body the speed, all the intangibles that like it took. It was just going to be a matter of I didn't know him personally. I didn't know his work ethic and stuff like that. But obviously he's gotten to the point where he just lives in the gym and lives and breathes basketball and, turned himself into a fucking hell of a player, obviously.
Yeah, he is.
Did you feel the same way about Gordon Hayward, or at least a similar manner when you guys played him? Do you think, well, this guy is a future pro? And also part B of the question, how annoying was it to see Butler go to that championship after you guys took him down twice?
Yeah, I definitely had the same reaction to Gordon Hayward. I remember his first step was just different for his size. He was playing a little more of the 4 in college. And any guy that's playing the 4 in college that you look at him and is like, okay, he could play the 3, he could be a guard, like at the next level, like even it's right. Those guys are kind of different. And he was definitely one of those guys. And where it was kind of obvious from the get-go just playing against him. But as far as them going to back-to-backs those years, I mean, at the time I was pretty bitter about it a little bit, just because, that was our shot to make the tournament and everything like that. But as time's gone on, I'm kind of like just a little proud that, we fought against those teams the way we did and like got those wins, and, they were back-to-back runner-ups and, national championships. So for us to, take some games off those types of teams is pretty cool to like have those memories.
Zooming out, we won't keep it too much longer here, Tony, but travel in college. We talked a little bit about the international scene, but I'm curious about the mid-major travel landscape because you hear different stories, and it's not all private jets like the Power 5 leagues. And your teammate, our friend Ryan Haggerty, told us a pretty funny story. I'm sure it was scary for you at the time, of you guys flying through a lightning storm, going to one of your games. Can you regale us with that tale, please?
Yeah. I think we were one of the luckier mid-major teams in the fact that I guess you could call them private planes. We've always flew out of a small like regional airport outside of Milwaukee. And we took 3 9-seater planes, split up the team into 3 9-seater planes. So these planes were small, and squeezing a bunch of these big dudes in was always funny. But because they're small, you're feeling every little bit of turbulence.
Yeah, don't even give me
no thanks.
Yep. So, and we had some guys that were terrified of flying, but you got no choice. If you want to go to the game, you get on the plane. So it was always interesting. But the one time that Ryan was talking about, most of the time we were flying over Lake Michigan, either to Detroit or Ohio.
Brutal.
For games in Youngstown, Cleveland State, Detroit, Mercy, whatever. And I think we were flying back from Detroit actually. And it's in the winter. And there was like a sleet storm with lightning and all this going on. We're over Lake Michigan and the plane is just dropping. Like the turbulence was crazy. We're free falling for like 3 seconds before it catches again. And like all like repeatedly, basically the whole flight back, like it didn't let up almost the entire time. And, we had guys like almost kissing the ground when we finally landed. I remember one of our teammates was just in the back, curled up with his eyes closed, just like praying for it to be over the whole time.
God. That's my guy. I sat there.
Yep. I'm a big like roller coaster guy, and I'm just like I'm laughing at all these guys because I'm thinking it's fun.
Yeah, you would be. You're like Jim. You're actually a great fill-in for Jim because that's exactly Jim's role on a bumpy flight.
He likes turbulence. He's crazy.
I don't mind the turbulence. If we had flown by that point, I think it was my junior or senior year, so I'd flown in these things. I'd felt some turbulence before, and I guess I just trusted the pilots to handle it. So I was just like loving it, thinking it was hilarious that all my other teammates are freaking out. But it was definitely a crazy experience.
I'm gonna ask you one thing about the Horizon League here. Best place to play. I guess toughest place to play. We'll go instead outside of Butler in the Horizon League. Worst place to play in the Horizon League?
Okay. are you talking gym or like city to travel to?
Let's go gym, like the actual gym game day experience, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. Right off the bat, one of the tough places to play that popped into my head was Valparaiso, actually.
Wow.
Maybe one you wouldn't think of, but it wasn't the greatest gym. It was a smaller gym, but like they always had a packed house, and they were always just a tough team. And it was a tough kind of atmosphere going into, I remember. And then worst place to play was probably Youngstown State.
I was going to guess that.
The city in general, not a great place to be. We didn't always spend much time there. We usually just drive up to Cleveland. I think we paired that up with who do we play? Oh, it was when we were in Dayton. We were playing Wright State. We usually paired those two on the same trip. Wright State was actually the only gym I never got a win in the Horizon League too. That was
the Nutter Center. The Nutter Center,
which is huge. And they never I didn't think it was like it was a really nice gym though, and it was like great place to play. We just could never win there. I guess that would be a tough place to play. But Youngstown's gym wasn't that bad, but very small and kind of had that dark kind of feel to it, and
dingy,
not as well lit for some reason.
Your Parkway North, if you will. Just a really not a well-lit gym.
Worst gym in St. Louis.
Yeah.
You've heard about the NIL stuff, Tony. How much money would you have made in college?
I don't know if I would have made any, honestly.
Right, retain any.
NIL stuff, and it's
bottom line, zero.
It's all for the big majors, It's all for those top guys.
That's true.
I feel like it's just going to make a worse, disconnect between the mid-major and stuff. I don't know how it's all going to play out and everything, but the transfer portal and everything is really crazy. And I feel like
your team might have gotten split up. Had
that might stick around and kind of fight through the adversity. Whereas now they think like, oh, the coach was just screwing me over. I'll go somewhere else, and they're going to end up getting lost in the mix of it all. So. We'll see. It's obviously going to be good for some other guys, and great that guys can, make some money. The guys that are, making so much money for the schools. Cause I definitely also saw that side of it. Our school, we didn't have a football team. So,
that's right. No
football program was like a big money maker for the school. And, so we kind of saw that side of, how the university was, reaping all the benefits. Well, we didn't, get too much. And, then that's how you get guys like, props to him, but, Jeter was the highest paid, guy in almost the entire school at one point, I believe. He was making the most money. So coaches end up making all the money where none of it goes to the players. So it's awesome to see that players are getting a little piece of it. But it's going to be interesting to see how it all ends up playing out.
Yeah. One final question, then you can go. What are you going to get for Matt for his wedding, since you're going to miss it?
That's a great question. Yes. Oh my goodness!
You owe him something special.
We have too much,
very special.
We have too much stuff. I don't need to be stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably cash. That's what I like.
I'll take cash.
That's what I got. That's what I enjoyed most for for my wedding. So
yes,
that's the right plan.
And nobody needs more stuff. I just got done selling our house and getting rid of it. Had a big garage sale trying to get rid of all the crap that we've acquired through the years. So maybe cash, but maybe I'll personalize a little something and throw it in there. We'll see.
Yeah, that'd be real nice. I'd appreciate that if you did.
I'm just happy to get on your guys' level of maturity, marriage, homeowners. So
congrats.
One down, one to go.
By the way. I haven't
one down, one to go.
Yeah, you're on your way, man. You're on your way.
You guys showed me the light. What can I say? I owe it all to both of you. So I didn't think it was for me. I was like, well, Tony and Kai can do it. How hard can be that?
Right. Well, and Tony's got kids now, so I'm like, Tony can do it.
Right. It's easy. It's the final frontier.
Yeah.
Breeze, baby.
That's
all right. Tony, thank you so much. We know you got to go eat dinner. Poland is ahead of the United States in time. Did you guys know that?
Yeah,
that's true. Tony, thank you so much for joining. We waited too long to get you on the podcast. No excuse.
Absolutely.
Hey, if you ever want me on again, this was fun.
We did.
I like talking to you guys. This was fun.
Yes,
so
of course.
yeah, let's do it anytime, man.
Good luck in your season this year. Go Sheshin.
Go Sheshin.
So Tony can hang up, and then we were going to do the news and notes and finish this podcast for you guys. Tony.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Tony.
All right.
Love you, babe.
We'll see you. Love you guys.
Bye, Tony.
I got to figure out how to hang this thing up.
You can hang around, listen to us.
Matt, you can take Cox's Corner. Tony can just figure out how to hang up, whatever.
And welcome to Cox's Corner. First of all, thank you, Tony Meier, for joining us from across the pond. Surreal interview for me. Like literally known that kid since kindergarten. Played with him for many years, Kai, and then we were unfortunately against him when our high schools split into two, and as you mentioned, got the better of us. But anyway, that's all water under the bridge. It's time for Cox's Corner, a very light Cox's Corner, thank goodness. We have some realignment news, which we're all super geeked about talking about. Everyone's on board with this. We all like random rivalries. Rumors flying. Stanford, Cal, and SMU are joining the Atlantic Coast Conference, which doesn't make it what it's called. It's the Pacific Atlantic Ocean. Anyway, that is going to be a thing to watch. That's sort of where the Pac-12 is right now, as their tectonic plates have fissured and they're just trying to figure it all out. So disaster.
I guess I don't mind
the ponies. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and SMU, yeah. I guess I don't mind, Matt. Whatever. We're to this point where it's like, fine, they can go to the ACC. Right. Oregon State, Washington State, Mountain West. We'll see.
SMU just has a lot of money, and I think people want to get in part of the Dallas market. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if the ponies find themselves a new show. And then some really, really terrible news. Just, I feel like every year we have a few of these guys gone too soon. Richie Chaney passed away. I don't believe the cause of death has been released, but former Houston player, just a kind of a marquee, a microcosm of like the entire Houston program, honestly. So
it was. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that whole family is reeling right now. So just a tragic thing. But anyway, I had to pay note to it. There it is. In terms of other news, that pretty much wraps it up. We have some gambling riffs. Another not good. Yes. So when we say gambling riffs, I mean those out there who should not be doing it, which are players who are betting on themselves and the game in which they play. That's a no-no in college basketball. Jeremiah Williams, the former Temple guard who is now at Rutgers, expected to play a pretty key part for them this year, has been charged with tampering with records. I believe this could end up in a 2-year, behind bars for 2 years. I don't know how this usually shakes out.
Jail time?
I think it was on the table. So I don't have read a ton of the details here, but we saw what happened with Ulis at Nebraska, former Iowa transfer. Yeah, Iowa State has been caught up to in a few accusations. So it's just
it's strange.
Yeah, it's just not worth it, kids. No. I get the appetite to want to do it. It's just, I promise you, the reward is absolutely nowhere near the risk, especially for like jail time. I mean, come on.
It's what's kind of catching my brains right now is Iowa State clearly has a probe going on right now.
Yes.
This is happening at probably every single college in the country. What happens
more
when
and
other
more are going to
states start to investigate and more guys? I mean, this could be huge for college athletes. I think the rules should change. I think if a basketball player gambles legally on a football game, there shouldn't be an issue here.
Yeah, cross sports okay. I don't go with that.
In some states, you can't even gamble on your own. In Illinois, you cannot gamble on any Illinois college teams.
Yeah,
it can't be suspensions and jail time. It just can't. Yeah. I don't know what Jeremiah's case was, but I know a lot of these guys are just placing $20 bets on random games, and you're just not
worth it. What are we doing?
Right,
it's not worth it.
No.
How do you get caught? Is my question.
I don't know what the probe was. They really went into. Frank, I'm trying not to read too much into this. Frankly,
well, also we don't want to give a testimonial as to how to get around, how to circumvent the restrictions. Not at all the intended purpose of this discussion. Yeah,
don't bet in your own name on any account if you're a college athlete if it's against the rules. Frank,
get a burner.
And professional athlete, I guess you can't do that either. Yeah,
we'll get down for you if you have a good lean.
Anyways.
Yeah, wild stuff there. in the last bit of news, huge announcement for all college basketball exhibition fans. I think people are trying to clamor for more of the exhibitions above board and less of the behind the scenes, below board secret scrimmages. I know Dan Gavitt's working to maybe amend those rules. Anyway, the one that is coming between Kansas and Illinois is noteworthy because it's for Maui relief. I believe most people have been informed about the tragic wildfires that have caused pretty seismic devastation on the island out there. So they're going to play an exhibition to raise money for that. And Kai, both teams are playing in Maui this year, or they're not, right? They've both played in years past, but they have not. They're not part of this year's Maui.
Year. Okay, it's for Maui relief, similar to KU Mizzou. They did that exhibition for the tornado. I want to say a couple years back.
Yeah,
could have been a hurricane relief, some sort of relief. But it was a really cool, right? Because it's like, hey, everyone kind of wants to see these two teams play. Let's make an event out of it and raise money. Right.
It's an absolute no-brainer all the way around. I believe Maui, like there's been no reports of risk of Maui not happening this year, but man, it was, I hope that we don't hear whispers of that. I hope that people can
not play
there's
Maui.
Enough leeway. Yeah. I mean, I think there's enough leeway to get things cleaned up, but I know there's been rips with, it
seems doubtful.
Locals not wanting tourism to be continuing to come in. I don't know. It's a whole thing. Hopefully it still happens. And hopefully if it does happen, it's for the good of the locals who have been so friendly and my not one, but two visits there with my family.
My guess is Vegas. My guess is they move.
I know. And that's just, it's so easy to do it. And everyone just likes the upside. So I get it. I do. And I think that concludes a very short and sweet Cox Corner the overall presentation from today's program. Look forward to Jim rejoining.
Next week is Matt?
Kai, tease us. Or just
we're starting previews, man. We're going mid-major extravaganza, I believe, is next week. And then we're going to get into the Power 5 previews on a weekly basis. The season's coming. It's like 75 days away. Can't wait.
Strap in, folks. Going to be a bumpy off season up to the start of the year, but please stick with us. Until next week, take care.